They just so whatever. So anyway, the one thing about the heavy metals going down the sink, see, nobody talks about it, and nobody says anything. And I don't know if they actually. My question is, do they actually know this, or are they just in denial? Are they just pretending that it's not real? It's like when you get in a car, and you're cruising down the road and you're burning fossil fuels and you're releasing CO2 and whatever. And I'm not like a big advocator of the global warming. I don't believe that the evidence that has been presented is that conclusive. I think that it's been slanted quite a bit, but I do know that burning fossil fuels and throwing shit in the we used to pour oil in the gutter, and when we used motor oil, we just poured it in the gutter. And when we changed out our antifreeze, we did the same thing. We just drained it in the gutter and then we hose it down into the storm drain. That was it. Or I don't. Yeah.
My dad used to use it on our yards to keep weeds out, to keep areas from not growing grass.
Okay, yeah. That should have been a sign right there. We just denied it. Nobody ever said, "Hey, I wonder if we should be pouring antifreeze down the storm drain." I don't wonder if we should be doing that. Or like we go into McDonald's and there would be a section, a smoking section, and it was no, it wasn't even the smoking section. It was the non-smoking section. And it was small. It was only like 6 booths. And but the problem was it was still in the same room and there was no ventilation. So everybody was getting smoked out, even though they wanted to be in the non-smoking section. But all that meant was you couldn't smoke in there. It didn't mean that the smoke didn't waft its way over to you. But we were like in denial. We didn't even.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. So, or it's like, remember when we used to go to Guitar Center? We'd go in there and we were underage and we would be smoking in Guitar Center, and they actually had ashtrays in there.
Yeah.
It's freaking crazy. Or I still remember Target. We would go into Target and we'd be sitting in there smoking in the clothing section, and we'd be dropping ashes and butts and shit on the carpet. It was freaking ridiculous. It was ridiculous. I look back and I go, God, what's up with that? But that's how we were back then. So I just wonder if this dumping fixers and crap down sink, I wonder if it's just they know but they're just denying it. Because like I'm saying, if you have a septic tank, you're dumping that stuff it's leaching into your ground, into your soil. And if you've been doing that for 30 years, I know there's not a lot, it's probably microscopic. But if you're just doing it in your house, then the amount is probably microscopic, I would assume. I don't know, but I would assume. Now, obviously, if you're in a photo lab, and you're doing, 1,000 rolls a day, like if I went to, I don't even know, because if you run a commercial lab, you have to have a silver reclamation system, because you can't. What are you going to do? You can dump it down the drain? You can't. It's too much. It'd be crazy, but when you take a few thousand people in the United States, I don't even know how many people are actually processing their own film at home in the United States. But when you're doing that, God knows how much silver is going down the drain into the municipal sewer. And a lot of that stuff's probably getting flushed into the ocean.
By the way, I want to take this moment to point out the chimps do not hurt the ecosystem.
Yeah. They don't use up the steel for making the cartridges. They don't use plastic for the spindles. They don't dump silver into the municipal water district. They recycle their batteries, and their batteries are long use. Yeah, those chimps, man. Tell you what. It's an ecological they're the ecological heroes. But
I went through I was reloading all my gear to see what I had and what I didn't have. It had just become this amalgamation of stuff that was spread over 3 different milk crates. It turned out I had 6 batteries for my camera.
Oh, wow.
And I'm pretty sure I didn't need 6.
One of the things that happened to me is my batteries, I got some generics, and they suck. And so what happens is I got the name brands are like freaking 5 times as much. It's freaking stupid.
Right.
I got some generics, and a couple of them are pretty good, but like 2 of them just they don't last very long. Whatever.
I have about that same problem, which I think is probably why I got so many of them.
Yeah, that's what I did. But what I found is that I don't shoot enough. So I have all these batteries, and I'm not, like I'll charge like 5 batteries, and I go out and I don't even go through 1 battery. On a rare occasion, I'll have to change out batteries, but usually I don't. So that's actually a sign that I'm not shooting enough. Anyway, yeah. So I got so ultimately the whole thing about this podcast was making sure that you actually produce something. If you're just running around talking about all this great stuff and you never actually do anything, it's kind of a waste of time.
I'm guilty of that. I just spent $300 on camera crap this week, and
yeah,
like okay, when I get this, I'm going to do this, and then I'll get it, and I'll just be like, oh, that's cool. Now I got it.
Yeah, well, that's what happened with my studio. I got the lighting and the backdrop and all this great stuff, and then I unpacked it to look at it when I got it, and that was like 6 months ago. I haven't done anything. So what I'm thinking I'm going to try to do is set it up in my garage and try to do some, like I said, shoot some still lifes and stuff, and just just get some use out of it. And then ultimately for Christmas, I want to shoot those Christmas photos, and so I'm going to use all that stuff. And ultimately, when we move, we're planning on moving out of this house. And when we do, I'd like to have a permanent place where I just hang it and just do my, just do whatever. Like I actually saw this cool thing. Like some photographers, they don't use material backdrops. They use a special. They call it seamless paper. And you get this roll. Yeah, you know what that. Yeah. Well, I saw this great thing that it's a rack that's got these staggered spindles on it. So that, and you hang it on your wall, and you just load up, a handful of different seamless papers that you want, and then you just pull it out. When I think usually I see about 3, but sometimes I think I've seen as many as 5 different spindles. So you can put 5 different colors or different patterns of seamless paper, and then you just roll it out, and then you just roll it right back up. Yeah, and I was thinking, God, that's really cool. I should totally get something like that. That way I could keep that all off the floor. I could just mount it on the wall, and then when I want to, I just roll out what I want. So I'm going to think about that. But, boy, I tell you what, those rolls of seamless paper can be kind of expensive. Yeah, shit ain't cheap. But it would be kind of cool, I think, to be able to have a handful of different types of, different colors of paper, depending on what my model, whoever that happens to be, is wearing, and then I can just match it to the background so that I don't have to, so that, if she's wearing a red dress, or, like if I'm doing Christmas pictures and they're all wearing red, I don't want a red background because then they'd all just blend into the background. So anyway, that's my thing.
They used to do those, that cheap photography in the malls where you could have different backdrops and you could have them in different colors and all that stuff. And it's one of the reasons I wanted to get a flash system with a trigger, which is what I just finished purchasing and should be here today. I was looking at a more expensive system using Godex products, but the only thing the Godex thing allowed you was you could change all of your settings for your flashes from the trigger on your camera. The only difference as to what I bought, by the way, had I bought that system, I would have spent up to about $300 for it, for a three flash system. As it is, I spent $160 for about half price, and I just got to set my flashes manually. I'm not sure if I want to work with gels to change, because obviously, and what I realized is the backdrop was a grayscale, whether it be clouds or bricks or anything. It was just versions of gray, one way or the other.
Yeah.
And what they did is they had a colored gel on the flash. It would flash up to the backdrop. I bought an LED like a big like one of these floodlights you use outside your house, but it was an LED that I could change all the colors on. I don't know if that'll work with the grayscale thing under flash photography, because under flash photography you basically negate all ambient light.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure yet, but basically what I figured is I have 3 of these flashes I bought that will all trigger from the trigger. You know, they each came with a trigger, so I got plenty of triggers.
Okay.
So I can trigger 3 lights, which is, you know, the 3 light setup is, you can see, you can find anything online to teach anything from a 1 flash setup to a 3 flash setup.
Yeah.
I do have a 4th I can use, which is a old Canon, one I bought, but I can set it to slave, use the other flashes to trigger it.
Yeah, I have that. Real quick, I was wondering, are you planning on you doing any of that flash photography anytime soon?
I'm probably gonna set it up this week. I'm gonna, like you said, I'm gonna get my backdrop set up and just work with some personal portrait stuff. See what I can do, and
yeah, I was thinking of doing some self-portraitures myself just to try to experiment a little bit.
It's the one model you don't have to fucking bribe into getting over to your house.
Yeah, you don't have to pay him, and he doesn't want to eat either. Well, generally he does, but yeah, you don't have to listen to him complain. All right, hey, check it out. I got to go out and do some domestic stuff. So I was thinking what I'd do is just I'll pull this and chop it up and see what I can get out of it. And are you planning on doing any more of your soul stuff coming up?
I might record one this week.
Okay, yeah. The reason I'm asking is because I don't want to I don't want to like upload because on this speaker I can set a future date for publishing. So I don't want to be uploading 3 or 4 episodes and then 2 weeks with nothing. So what we would do is, if you're hashing out a bunch of little episodes or big episodes, little, different size episodes, then, and you want to do it that way, then just let me know the date that you would like to push it out. I'd like to send them out roughly on I think what we might want to do is move it to like Friday so that people, I'm not sure what a good day to publish is. Some people like to do it on Monday morning. Anyway, the reason why is because I think it would be cool if we spread it out a little bit so that because if we wait too long, they're gonna go, oh well, it must be dead because we haven't seen an episode in 2 weeks, so it must be dead. So I think that's one of the reasons too why I have chopped episodes up and sent out segments like the comedy segment or the Gutterman rant or all that. I put those out because I want to make sure that something is getting posted, even if it's rehashing a component of a larger episode. So I'm thinking of going back. I have everything. So I'm thinking of maybe going back and uploading some of the not entire episodes but like segments of like the Zozo thing was funny shit. So I think that might be kind of funny. So stuff like that. So anyway, yeah. So if you
what I'll do is that's way more than I have time for.
Uh-huh.
But what I'll do is I'll just record, when I feel I got a little time, I'll just record a segment.
Uh-huh.
I'll send it to you. You upload it when you want.
Okay.
And that way you'll just have ones in reserve that can be uploaded as you see fit.
Yeah. I was thinking too is you should probably email me your do you have your intro and outro as a separate file, or do you because what I have is Anchor worked a little bit differently, but this current one's Spreaker. I have to tag it, I have to attach it and then create a single file and then upload it. But if you have like your intro, outro, then what you could do is if you're out on the road and something cool happens, you could just do a quick recording. It don't have to be long at all. I mean, when we do this, it's because we flap gums for 2 hours. But, if you have 5-10 minutes, you're out and about and you're like, hey, check this out. Cause we could do that, just upload. And then if you email me your intro and outro, then I could just, when it comes to me, I could just tag it and then just upload it that way. And then that way, and you can also tell me too if you want it as a Planet of the Chimps or if you want it as a hardcore. So.
Yeah,
cool.
Hey, like I said, it doesn't matter. I like the intro and outro I was using. I just threw it together in 10 minutes,
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it came out pretty good. I like the